The Titanic collides with it. The impact is so violent that it tears open the ship's hull, flooding multiple compartments in an instant. Water begins to pour in, and the unthinkable starts to happen. The unsinkable is sinking. At first, passengers are calm. After all, the Titanic boasts the most advanced safety features of its time. They were told it could never sink, but the cold, unforgiving Atlantic has other plans. The water surges through the lower decks, creeping into the passengers' compartments. Then, reality hits. Panic erupts. Screams echo. Chaos spreads. People are fighting for survival. Parents are trying to save their children. Loved ones are saying their final goodbyes. But amidst this chaos lies a tragic truth. A mistake so monumental that it sealed the fate of over 1,500 souls. The Titanic only had 20 lifeboats. Why so few? Because its creators were so confident in the ship's unsinkable design that they thought lifeboats were just an afterthought. Worse yet, they believed that more lifeboats would ruin the ship's elegant look. 2,224 people on board, but lifeboats for only 1,178. This was a mathematical death sentence. The decks became a scene of desperation. People pushed and shoved to reach the lifeboats. Order vanished, and survival instincts took over. Amid the chaos, there were stories of incredible bravery and heart-wrenching sacrifices. Down in the engine rooms, 35 engineers stayed at their posts. They fought against the flooding waters, trying to keep the lights on and the power running just a little longer. They knew they wouldn't survive. Yet, they stayed, saving countless lives by giving them precious minutes to escape. None of these heroes made it out alive. Then, there was Father Thomas Biles, a priest on board. He was offered a seat on a lifeboat, a chance to live. But he chose to stay behind, comforting and praying with those left behind, offering them peace in their final moments. He perished with the ship. His body was never found. The water was merciless. The Titanic broke apart, and within hours, it vanished beneath the freezing waves. 1,500 souls were lost that night, yet only 337 bodies were ever recovered, leaving countless families without closure. But why did it happen? Could it have been prevented? And most haunting of all, did they truly believe they were safe until the very end? This isn't just a story about a ship sinking. It's about human arrogance, unimaginable bravery, and heartbreaking loss. No one knows what happened to the rest of the people. Musicians who played until the end. As the Titanic was sinking, some musicians continued playing music to keep people calm and distracted from fear. These musicians also perished in the ocean, but they were remembered for their bravery. The Japanese survivor who was shamed. There was a Japanese passenger on board named Masabumi Hosono. He was the only Japanese person on the Titanic. Masabumi survived the disaster and made it back to Japan. But when he returned, he was treated with shame and dishonor. People in Japan questioned why he had survived when so many others had died. They believed he should have gone down with the ship. According to Japanese customs at the time, his actions were seen as disgraceful. Newspapers publicly shamed him, calling him a coward. Because of this, Masabumi and his family had to live in shame for the rest of their lives. It's a strange cultural rule, the heartbreaking love story of a Titanic couple. There was also an elderly couple on board whose story is heartbreaking. A man named Isidor Strauss was offered a seat on a lifeboat, but he refused to board. He said, "I won't leave until all the women and children are safe." His wife, Ida Strauss, deeply loved him. She replied, "I have spent so many years of my life with my husband. I will not leave him now." So she chose to stay with him, and they died together on the Titanic. The fate of the Titanic's designer. The man who designed the Titanic, Thomas Andrews, was last seen throwing chairs into the Atlantic Ocean, trying to help passengers survive. It is believed that he went down with the ship. In fact, during its 4-day journey, the Titanic had already received several iceberg warnings. But what happened next sealed the fate of the ship. Titanic ignored 6 iceberg warnings. The Titanic had received 6 iceberg warnings before the disaster, but no one took them seriously because they believed Titanic was unsinkable. Passengers were so confident that they ignored all the warnings. The horrific scene of the sinking survivors of the Titanic later described the horrifying scene. Thousands of people were begging for their lives, screaming for help. It was a terrifying sight. The sinking of the Titanic is still considered one of the greatest maritime disasters in history. How Titanic changed the world. After the Titanic tragedy, shipping companies worldwide started improving their safety measures. They learned from Titanic's mistakes and ensured that such a disaster never happened again. Titanic became a huge lesson for the world. The freezing Atlantic waters. At the time of the sinking, the Atlantic Ocean's temperature was -2 degrees Celsius, colder than ice. Now imagine jumping into freezing water at 2 a.m. You can't even imagine how painful that would be. The ocean below, the sound of death above. Just think about how horrified the passengers must have felt. The Titanic took 2 hours and 40 minutes to completely sink. Today, its wreck lies more than 12 5,000 feet deep in the Atlantic Ocean. Finding Titanic's wreck took 70 years. It took scientists 70 years to find the Titanic's wreckage, because searching at such extreme depths, where no light reaches, is not easy. Titanic's wreck may disappear by 2030. Scientists believe that by 2030, the Titanic's wreck may completely disappear. This is because bacteria in the ocean are slowly eating away the remains of the ship, a ship that carried great hopes, but failed. The Titanic was built with great expectations, but sadly, it couldn't even complete its first journey. The Titanic disaster became a lesson for the entire world. I hope you enjoyed this video. A lot of research and effort goes into making these videos. If you like this, make sure to give it a like before leaving. Also, let me know in the comments what lesson you learned from the Titanic story. I will pin the comment with the most likes. See you in the next video.